Okay, I've been working on trying to get the pins out of my D815 rear center shaft. This was a brand new rear center shaft from a new kit, and this pin I just finished replacing. It was a lot of work because the pins are so tight in here that they don't want to come out. On the CVDs that go to the axles, this one's obviously very used. For whatever reason, the pin's not nearly as tight in there. Okay, so this other end is unmolested here. This is still just as it came. That's the original pin. I'm sure it's going to be extremely tight. I haven't tried to get it out yet. What I do know is usually I use my RC Renew pin tool to replace these pins. I've done these a zillion times, and I've got other universals and stuff like that I've done a zillion times. These are obviously in need of replacement. Here's a bunch of pins that this tool here has done, but it's not strong enough to get this pin out. So the other method that I used to like to do a lot was to use my vise. And what I would do is I would get this 4mm socket. I would put the dog bone end in there, and I would put it in the vise like this, and then close the vise. Now, since I did the other side already, I know this is ultra tough, and this thing is not going to want to budge. So what I'm going to do here is put on some gloves. And normally you're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to use this wrench for some extra leverage here and see if I can get this thing to move. Okay, so, and the other thing I want to do is cover this in case something blows up here. Okay, so here we go. Closing the vise. Okay, this is a tremendous amount of force that I'm putting on this thing, and I really don't trust this rag to give me enough protection here. So let me see, what else can I put on top of here? How about this? And this. Okay, this isn't going to do it. Something bad is going to happen if I keep doing it this way. So what I am going to do is loosen the vise back up, and I'm going to go to plan B, which is a hammer, this thing, and the ground. Okay, so let's do this right over here. Did this thing move at all? No. Okay, so same principle here. I'll put that in there, and I'm going to tap it in with the hammer. Okay, now I can see that it has moved. And it's probably not going to move anymore. So now, if I put this in my RC Renew pin tool, it still isn't going to push it out. That's still extremely tight in there. And the Mugen one, I don't have the Mugen one, but people say the tool is breaking also, so I don't think that's going to work. Now, I could put this back in the vise, put this piece on there, grab a new pin from here or one of those bags, and try and use the pin to press it in. But I know it's still going to be very, very tight. So what I'm going to do actually is use this Dremel, and I'm going to grind around this pin to decrease the diameter of it, and then hopefully it will come out. And matter of fact, that's what I did to get this other side out. So let's try that now. Here we go. Alright, now I'm just going to test this thing in the vise and see how much this diameter has been reduced. Okay, because I can kind of tell if the vise is willing to close on this thing relatively easily. Okay, so that's in there. And I got the wrong hand on this thing. Let's redo this. These gloves are making it kind of clumsy, so let's take that glove off. Oops, that's backwards. Okay, so here we go. Okay, that's still very, very tight. And obviously I guess it makes sense that it still would be, because I only decreased the diameter of the exposed part, not of the non-exposed part. So what I'm going to do is take the hammer, use this thing again on the ground, and hit it back the other way. Oh, working with small parts and gardening gloves is kind of tough here. Okay, there we go. Alright, hope you guys can see this on video. I'm just going to put it back in there. Okay. Now the pin has been moved to the other side. Something definitely looks amiss here, because it looks like the pin broke on something. And, oh, here's the other part of the pin here. I don't know how that happened. Okay, so now let's see if this tool will be able to get this pin out. So what I'm going to do is, this one here accepts a new pin. So what I use for the dog bone side of it is this Huddy replacement drive shaft pin 3x12s, part number 106051. Okay, so actually let me put a little grease on here and put the pin in there. Drops in the recess. Just thread this in. Okay, you can see the pin coming in there. And let's see what happens now. Okay, that's lined up. Let's put a ratchet on here. Okay, and it's threading through now, so I can tell it's going to work. Okay, the pin has, or the threaded part of the screw has bottomed out. The pin is in as far as it's going to go with this one. So let me switch to the other one now. As I'm taking this out, I'm going to do it by hand so you can see. The pin is now in here. The other pin is here. This is the original D815 pin. So that obviously is trash. Here's the other part of it that broke off. And now I'm going to switch this screw here. You can see that has the hole in it that the new pin goes in. And I'm going to put this other screw in. It has no hole. Add a little more grease. Okay, now the pin's protruding there. I mean, the screw's protruding. Yep, went a little too far. Now you just drop this in there. Carefully line it up, which it is. Wipe off the grease. Put this piece on. Put that piece on. And ratchet. And thread it in. Once you take that original pin out and you put any other pin in there, it's not as tight. It's still tight, but it's not as tight. Now I'm just eyeballing it here to see how far I need to go, and I think that looks pretty good there. Okay, let's wipe off the grease. Okay, so I don't know which side went in first, but whatever it is, you can see there's more meat on this side than there is on that side. So I'm going to stick it back in and push it a little bit more. Oops, that's crooked. There we go. Okay, you can see it's in there. Okay, let's try that now. Wipe off some grease. Okay, that's a lot closer. Now, what I always do is measure it with the calipers. It doesn't matter what the actual measurement is, as long as it's the same on both sides. You can see that this side of the pin is still longer. So what I would do now is just go back and forth and until it's the same on both sides. And it you know, depending on how many times you've done this or how lucky you get, I guess, it can take one try or it can take several tries. For purposes of this video, I'm only going to do it this one last time here because this could take several minutes to get it just right. That actually is pretty close. That's actually very close. That's almost spot on. So I'm going to make it a little bit more perfect after I'm done with this video. But I want to show you this pin here now is just some junk pin that I pull out of my pile there just so I can get the pin replaced. But now I'm going to put a new pin in here. Okay, and this here, well, the way I do it is this side is going to go into the center diff and this side is going to go into the front differential on the car. Okay, so that's the front of the car, that's the back of the car. And originally the D815 comes with pins that are this size, and these are, although that says 3 by 12 there, when you measure them, they're not quite 3 by 12. They're like 3 by 11 and a half or something like that. Okay, but this is the exact same length as the one that came with the kit actually. So now I'm going to change this side for a brand new pin, and for the center diff and for the front and rear diff, I use either these pins here, Mugen 3 by 13.8, part number C0271, or these here, the Huddy. There is a 1 in front of that, you can't see it because I wrote over it, 106050, and these are 3 by 14s, those are 13.8, but they're not, that's not the exact measurement. These I use for the CVDs, E0238, 2.5 by 14.8 mils, but they're actually too long, so I cut them down a little bit. I just grind them off with this to shorten the length. Okay, now these here actually from McMaster Car, somebody on RC Tech mentioned that these things would be good replacement pins. I bought this, it's like a pack of 100 for like 10 bucks. And you know, they fit perfect. So I'm actually going to put one of these in now. Okay, so first thing I got to do, this is the side we're going to replace, this is the side with the pin that's all messed up, is make sure I got the right screw in there. I do. Okay, so let's close this up. That's lined up just right there. Let's put that on, and the ratchet. And you can see how easily this thing's pushing out now after I replace that pin. I guess all these other pins might be slightly smaller diameter than the one that comes in the D815 kit. So let's get this screw out here. And now I have to put this other screw in. Let's add a little bit of grease. And this is the new pin that I have. And let's thread this in. Okay, let's do it a little faster. Okay, you can see the pin coming through. Okay, put that piece on, this piece on, and now I'm going to thread this in, and you can see that it's just going in super easy. And you've got to go in all the way with this one. Since there's a recess in the screw, the pin's not actually going all the way through yet. Oops. Okay, so see if you can, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so that's the new pin that just went in. Here's the old pin that I put in just for test purposes that came out. So now I take this screw off, and the other screw now goes in. Okay, just make sure everything's lined up, and it is. Put that piece back in, and the ratchet. Now here you kind of have to eyeball it just like I just showed with the other side of this. That looks like it's going to be close there, but got to take a measurement. Oop, that was way too far, obviously. Okay, that actually might be too far the other way now. Yeah. So you do have to go back and forth a few times, and then when you get close, you just go, you just make really small movements here. Oops. Okay, so let's check that. That's closer, but this side here is still longer, so I got to move it over a little more. Okay. That's really close there. Let's see what the calipers say. By eyeballing it, that looks like it's going right to the edge. Nope, that's still off by a little bit. Okay, so after the video, I'm going to continue working on this and make sure both sides are exactly perfect. And then what I do is I get like an old out drive and I just see how much is protruding on either side of it, you know, like that.